All right, welcome back. We're gonna go over She's Just Not That Into You, the movie that hit Netflix this week. I've seen it before, I actually own it, I've seen it many times, watched it again on Netflix. I can say it's a good movie, probably for adults. I wouldn't say it's like crazy in one direction where you're like, don't let your kids watch it, but I mean, it's definitely adult topics. They take multiple couples, and just so you know, if you haven't seen any of my content before, I definitely try not to give you any spoilers, tell you what's happening, but I do give you my impression of the movie, the event, the film, TV show, whatever, and just kind of break it down for you in hopefully a few minutes and give you that quick review to where you're like, okay, thanks for the couple minutes. I'm going to watch it or I'm not. This one, I'd recommend that you watch it. It is definitely something that gets you thinking, gets you feeling. It's a good conversation piece for after the movie. Something really good to have in mixed company as far as guys and girls to be able to talk about together, or even just a couple to be able to discuss their thoughts on those situations, those topics, and even make plans for if those real life situations come about in their world, what they expect to see. But it's very interesting. Gigi is played by Ginnifer Goodwin. She does a great job going from, breaking all the how to date somebody rules, where she's too available, she's too eager, she puts the ball in their court too often. And, again, I'm not going to give you any spoilers, but you kind of get to see her journey as, it's not Kevin Connolly, although he is in there. He does a good job for his role. And it was nice to see him get another shot in a movie. He hasn't done bad. It seems like he hasn't had that many opportunities, but I think that he played the role very well of the real estate agent who's trying to take off and finds an emerging market within the gay community. And then you have Justin Long, who knows all the rules for dating, and he plays by all the rules to get him where he wants to go, but he doesn't have a whole lot of feelings in them. And he crosses paths with Gigi's character and kind of takes her under his wing, and that's kind of his thing, where he likes to kind of mentor and not kind of train up, but kind of protect and guide these people, not at all in a Mr. Miyagi way, but in kind of a friendship way, where he's like, hey, I care about what happens to you, and you're making these wrong moves. This is a terrible move to make. Let me tell you what this means when a guy does this or a girl does this. This is what it means. And he's well by sticking to the rules. And Gigi's on the total other opposite end of the spectrum, where she's all about the feelings and all about the emotions. And with that, she gets to learn how to kind of dial it back a bit, and he learns how to come forward a little bit. With Scarlett Johansson in there, it's kind of this is the relationship that kind of makes you cringe a little bit, because there's Bradley Cooper is married to Ginnifer Connelly in the movie. And early on, I'm not spoiling anything, Scarlett Johansson sparks up conversation between she and Brad, and really it's mutual. It's not that she was pushing something, but at first when they just met, they just happened to bump into each other, got to talking, and it's kind of her and her friend discussing why it would be okay to make a pass at a guy who's married, or pursue the guy who's married, because he might be the one, and maybe he married the wrong person. And the long and short of it is that he is married, and he is off the market, and she shouldn't be approaching him, and he shouldn't be going for that relationship. And the audience knows that in the moment, and they write it in such a way where it's like, yeah, we know you know that, but let's make the best case argument as to why it would be okay, and leave it in the audience's laps to figure out, what they want to do with it. So as the movie continues, you see, before you know that Bradley Cooper is dating Ginnifer Connelly, you see him get in the car with Ben Affleck. This is a star-studded movie, tons and tons of stars in it. But he gets into the car with Ben Affleck, and Ben Affleck starts questioning him, like, what was that? Like, where he was talking to Scarlett Johansson. And I kind of got the vibe, like, okay, are these two in a relationship? Is it Bradley Cooper and Ben Affleck, and, you know, they're together? And, you know, Bradley Cooper's like, yeah, but that's Scarlett Johansson, so I don't know how I feel about everything anymore. I was like, that'll be an interesting way for them to go in the movie. Can't wait to see how this turns out. And then in the next scene, Ben Affleck and Ginnifer Aniston are kind of explaining to the audience through conversation what their relationship is in being together, living together, but not getting married. And so they're like, okay, so, you know, those are the couples, those are the different situations. We have a couple who Ginnifer wants to get married, you know, Ben doesn't believe in marriage. That's one couple. Then you have Bradley Cooper and Ginnifer Connelly married, but Scarlett Johansson thrown into the mix, making that a complicated situation. And then you have Ginnifer, Goodwin, and Justin Long talking through relationships and the do's and don'ts of them. So you definitely have some comedy relief between most of the couples. You have some serious situations, and you find yourself rooting for different personalities. I do think it's worth a watch. If you haven't seen it yet, I'd say check it out. It's going to leave you with a mix of unexpected frustration and happy for some characters, you know. But I think it was well done, well written. I think some things were pushed where they didn't need to be. Some things were a little much where they didn't need to be. But all in all, I'd probably say it was like a 7.5. 7.5, definitely worth a watch. So let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. Let me know if you liked it, if you hated it, if you thought it was pretty good. Maybe you agree with me that it left you kind of indifferent, where you're like, hey, I was excited where some people's stories went and where they left off, and I didn't see that coming. Or, you know what, I didn't like it, I hated it because of this, and I can't believe you recommended it. But please subscribe and like below, and I'll keep the videos coming. Thanks again.